When the pressure rises, when the eyes are on you, when the moment matters most people crumble because they never trained for the storm. They react, they panic, they drown in their own thoughts. But pressure doesn't create weakness, it reveals it. And if you want to rise above the rest, you need to learn how to slow down when everything speeds up. Staying calm under pressure isn't about pretending the moment doesn't matter. It's about preparing your mind to face the moment like a warrior, not a victim. The battlefield of life will test your poise, your patience, and your presence. It will corner you with fear, doubt, and urgency. But if you can train yourself to remain composed when others unravel, you'll become unstoppable. Calm is a weapon. Stillness is a signal of strength. And in this video, you're going to learn exactly how to master it, step by step, pressure by pressure. Let's begin. The foundation of staying calm under pressure lies in your ability to control your internal state before the external world has a chance to control you. And the fastest access point to that is through breath control. Your nervous system is wired for survival, not composure. So the moment a high-stress situation arises, whether it's confrontation, competition, or crisis, your brain signals your body to tense, your heart rate spikes, and your breathing becomes shallow. That's the automatic fear loop pulling you into emotional reactivity, clouded judgment, and impulsive decision-making. But here's the truth, your breath is the override switch. Elite military units, elite athletes, surgeons, and crisis negotiators all train the breath because it's the only mechanism that can instantly downregulate your fight-or-flight response and restore clarity under pressure. Diaphragmatic breathing, slow, deep breaths through the nose with longer exhales than inhales, signals to your brain that you are safe, which releases a cascade of calming neurochemicals. And the power of this is not just physiological, it's psychological. When you control your breathing, you create a pause between the stimulus and your response, and in that pause lies your power. That pause is what separates warriors from reactors, leaders from followers, and those who crumble from those who dominate under fire. You don't train for pressure when you're in it, you train daily. Start with just 5 minutes a day of conscious breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Do it in silence. Do it when it's inconvenient. Make your breath your anchor, your ritual, your weapon. Because when the pressure hits and everyone else panics, you'll be the one moving with precision, calm, composed, and untouchable. The second key to staying calm under pressure is mastering your inner dialogue, because the story you tell yourself in moments of chaos becomes the reality you live in. When pressure hits, most people spiral because they start narrating failure in real time. I can't handle this. What if I mess up? Everyone's watching. This is too much. That internal noise triggers emotional overwhelm, amplifies anxiety, and narrows your mental bandwidth. But mentally tough individuals don't let the mind run wild. They take control of the narrative. They train themselves to override panic with precision. In high-stress moments, they don't say, "I'm scared." They say, "This is where I grow." They don't say, "This is too much." They say, "I've trained for this." They use pressure as a signal, not a threat, a cue to lean in, not collapse. This isn't toxic positivity, it's tactical language grounded in neuroscience. When you speak calm into chaos, your brain rewires how it interprets stress. You move from survival to strategy. You widen the gap between stimulus and response, and in that gap, you insert direction, focus, control. That's why elite performers use mantras, power phrases, or mental triggers in the heat of pressure. A soldier might say, "Slow is smooth, smooth is fast." An athlete might say, "One play at a time." A leader might say, "Hold the frame." These phrases aren't fluff, they're anchors. They shift your identity in the moment from victim to tactician. So ask yourself, what do you say when the pressure hits? And more importantly, who do you become when it does? Because that voice inside your head will either sabotage you or save you. If you don't train it to work for you, it will work against you. Calm isn't the absence of noise, it's the domination of it. Control your words, and you control your world. The third key to staying calm under pressure is detachment from outcome. Because pressure feeds on the illusion that everything must go perfectly or all is lost. This is the root of most anxiety, an obsessive fixation on what could happen if things don't go your way. You start catastrophizing. You feel like your entire identity, value, or future hinges on a single moment. And that emotional weight tightens your chest, clouds your judgment, and forces you into survival mode. But the calmest, most dominant people you'll ever meet have one thing in common. They've mastered the art of caring deeply about what they're doing without being emotionally enslaved by the result. It's not indifference, it's strategic neutrality. They show up, give everything, stay fully locked in, but they don't drown in what-ifs. They understand that attachment to outcome creates desperation, and desperation is the death of performance. When you act like everything rides on a single event, you squeeze your focus into a tunnel and lose the ability to adapt. Calm comes when you shift the goal from "I must win" to "I must show up at my best no matter what." That puts the power back in your hands. You can't always control results, but you can control how you prepare, how you respond, and how you recover. Think like a Stoic. Let go of what you don't control and double down on what you do. That mindset doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. Because when you're free from the chains of outcome, you stop operating from fear and start moving with precision. You stop seeking validation and start embodying presence. And ironically, this is exactly what increases your chances of success. Pressure doesn't crush you when you stop demanding certainty. It becomes fuel the moment you realize all you ever needed to control was your effort, your attitude, and your next move. Everything else is noise. The fourth key to staying calm under pressure is mastering your internal dialogue. Because the most dangerous voice you'll ever face isn't the crowd, your opponent, or the situation. It's the voice inside your own mind. Under pressure, that voice can either become your commander or your saboteur. It will either talk you into composure or talk you into collapse. Most people spiral because they let their inner voice run wild with fear, doubt, and worst-case scenarios. They start narrating failure before anything even happens. What if I mess up? What if I'm not good enough? What if they're better than me? That voice becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the elite, the truly composed under pressure, don't silence the voice. They train it, they use it, they turn that voice into a weapon. Instead of saying, "I hope I can do this," they say, "I've done this before." Instead of, "What if I fail?" they ask, "What's the next best move?" It's not about fake positivity, it's about strategic language that grounds your nervous system and shifts your focus back to action. Because the brain responds to what you feed it. Feed it fear, it gives you panic. Feed it clarity, it gives you calm. That's why affirmations, mantras, and breathing cues aren't cheesy, they're tools. The military uses them, athletes use them, fighters use them. Because in the middle of chaos, your thoughts are the only thing you have full control over. Speak with calm certainty, even when everything feels like it's falling apart. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your self-talk. And the person who can regulate their inner world when the external world goes to war becomes untouchable. Because it's not the pressure that breaks you, it's the way you speak to yourself inside it. Make your inner voice your coach, not your critic, and you'll turn pressure into performance every single time. The fifth key to staying calm under pressure is detachment from outcome. Learning to release your obsession with what might happen and focusing entirely on what you can control in the moment. Pressure builds when you become emotionally invested in things outside your influence, winning, losing, how others perceive you, whether things go perfectly. But the calmest, most composed individuals aren't calm because the stakes are low. They're calm because their mind is anchored in process, not outcome. When you detach from outcome, you're no longer performing for validation or survival. You're simply executing. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to stay present. Most people collapse under pressure because they're mentally living 5 minutes into the future or 5 hours into the past. They're imagining how badly things could go or regretting mistakes they already made. But the present moment is the only place where your power exists. Pressure loses its grip the moment you accept that you don't control results. You only control decisions, effort, and mindset. The Stoics knew this. That's why they trained themselves to focus entirely on their actions, not on whether the outcome rewarded them. In sports, in war, in business, and in life, this principle separates amateurs from professionals. The amateur obsesses over whether they'll win. The professional obsesses over whether they'll execute their fundamentals, block out distractions, and maintain discipline. Outcome will take care of itself. The person who masters detachment becomes lethal under pressure because they're not paralyzed by fear of failure or intoxicated by desire for success. They're grounded, still, focused. Like a sniper breathing slow before the shot, they silence every thought except the mechanics of execution. That's how you gain the edge, not by trying to control the uncontrollable, but becoming immovable within the chaos. The moment you let go of what you want to happen and lock into what needs to be done is the moment pressure becomes powerless. The sixth and final key to staying calm under pressure is to embrace adversity as training. To stop seeing high-stress situations as threats and start seeing them as tests designed to sharpen your edge. Every moment of pressure is an opportunity to build mental muscle. While the average person prays for ease and comfort, the composed individual welcomes difficulty because they understand this truth. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. And pressure is the training. When you're under pressure, you're not being punished, you're being prepared. That conversation that makes your palms sweat? Training. That game where everything is on the line? Training. That confrontation you've been avoiding? Training. Calm is not something you're born with, it's forged through fire. And the more you put yourself in difficult situations without running, the more your nervous system adapts. Eventually, what used to rattle you becomes your new normal. The silence before a speech, the countdown before a performance, the tension in a negotiation, these become familiar, not frightening. Because you face them again and again. But the key is intentional exposure. You must seek out these moments instead of avoiding them. You must lean into discomfort with the mindset of a warrior sharpening their sword, knowing each trial is carving you into someone more dangerous, more focused, more composed. This is why true calm under pressure doesn't come from hoping the world will go easy on you. It comes from becoming so familiar with pressure that it no longer owns you. You learn to slow your breath when your chest tightens. You train your voice to remain steady when adrenaline kicks in. You condition your mind to see chaos and respond with clarity. And over time, people will think you're just naturally calm. But you'll know the truth. You earned that stillness by walking into the fire over and over until it stopped burning you. That's the discipline of the composed, not avoiding the storm, but becoming so used to it that you move through it like it's home. That's when you're truly unshakable. One of the deepest sources of anxiety and panic under pressure is the desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable. You start obsessing over outcomes, other people's reactions, unpredictable variables, and in doing so, you surrender your own power. The key to staying calm is to reverse that. Take full control of what's within your reach and completely release what isn't. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. You can't control the weather on game day, but you can control how you show up. You can't control if someone betrays you, but you can control your reaction. You can't control the chaos around you, but you can control your posture, your breath, your energy. When you narrow your focus to what you can influence, your preparation, your mindset, your tone, your internal state, you reclaim power. And more importantly, you conserve energy. Pressure doesn't just come from intensity, it comes from wasted mental bandwidth, from trying to play God in situations where surrender is the stronger play. The calmest people under pressure aren't always the smartest or the strongest. They're the ones who've trained themselves to stay rooted in what they can control and detach from the noise. Think of it like this. The world is constantly throwing distractions, provocations, and uncertainties at you like waves. You can't stop the waves, but you can become the anchored ship. Calm, unshaken, responsive, not reactive. This principle of selective control is what allows elite performers to enter flow under fire. They know what to own and they know what to release, and that release is power. Because once you stop trying to manipulate every outcome, you create space to move with precision, clarity, and focus. That's when pressure becomes fuel, not fear. Control what you can, let go of the rest. That's how you stay dangerous in any storm. True mastery under pressure doesn't come from avoiding chaos. It comes from becoming the calm within it. Life will always throw you storms. Unexpected setbacks, criticism, betrayal, loss, deadlines, conflict. The goal isn't to build a world with no pressure. It's to build yourself into someone who doesn't flinch when it hits. That starts with identity. You don't just try to stay calm, you become someone who is calm. It's part of who you are. The kind of person who slows down when things speed up, who speaks softer when voices rise, who sees clearly when others panic. That calm presence becomes your superpower, because in a world addicted to noise, the quiet one leads. And here's the secret: pressure exposes the truth. It strips away ego, illusion, and talk. In pressure, you meet the real you. That's why you train your mind every day, not to impress people, but so that when the moment arrives and everything is on the line, your instincts are discipline, not chaos. Your reactions are composed, not emotional. Your body language radiates presence, not panic. People feel that. They follow that. Because calm is contagious, but so is fear. In pressure moments, you either spread one or the other. So instead of reacting like the rest, become the reference point. Be the one they look to when everyone else folds. And when the dust settles, they won't just remember your skills, they'll remember your stillness. That's what makes you rare. That's what builds legacy. Not just what you did, but who you were when it mattered most. Be the calm. Be the eye of the storm. And watch how pressure becomes your stage. Pressure doesn't break you, it reveals you. And if you've made it this far, you already know. Staying calm isn't about pretending things are fine. It's about choosing not to let chaos control you. It's about holding the line when everything tries to pull you off center. In a world that rewards noise, your power will come from your silence. In a culture built on reaction, your dominance will come from control. Remember this: the most dangerous man or woman is the one who doesn't panic, doesn't beg, and doesn't fold. You're not just training to survive stress, you're training to thrive in it. So whether it's in your relationships, your goals, or the battlefield of life, let them throw pressure your way. Let them doubt you. Let them test you. Because the more they press, the more unshakable you become. Stay calm, stay grounded, and always remember, when pressure comes, it's not your job to match its intensity. It's your job to rise above it. You are the storm now. Keep going.